The 1984 Dodge Daytona Turbo C. You should see the commercials when this thing came out in 1984. They claim to be faster than the Camaro, the Mustang, and the MK2 Supra. Funny, 1984, we also had the Grand National, and it was also the first year of the Toyota Corolla known as the AE86. That right there you're seeing is my first car. I was not old enough to drive in 1984. I got it in 1994, 10 years later. My aunt bought it brand new. 10 years later, I got it with 43,000 miles. It was all rusted. I had to get it fixed, but it was a good car. So Motor Week, back in the days, reviewed this car, and they said, even though it was a front-wheel drive car, it handled a lot better than a lot of cars. As a matter of fact, they said the only car front-wheel drive that handled better than this car was the Saab 900 Turbo. More on that later. So you can see we have some damage here on the roof. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix it. There was also a Chrysler version of this car called the Laser, and that one had a digital instrument cluster, and it even talked to you.
Your engine oil pressure is critical.
So here at the bottom we have one pose in the front, and we have two little ones in the back. For this video, I'm going to be using metric tools to drill this car apart. That's right, metric. I'm going to be using metric drill bits, metric tab, and metric screws. So let me get things ready and I'll be back. Drill and tap for M2 screws. Alright, so this is a 1.6 millimeter drill bit. So it sits right here. It's too long, and if I put it like this on the drill chuck, it's gonna stick out too much. So what I do is I cut a little piece, cut away from your eyes, and there you go. Okay, so it's tomorrow, the day after yesterday. Let's have a little conversation about the tabs. There are many different types of tabs. You've seen me before use what's called a bottoming tab, which means the tip here is flat. But there's also a difference. There are forming tabs. This is a forming tab, and this is a cutting tab. You've seen me use this 256 bottoming tab. This is a cutting tab. When you use a cutting tab, you need a specific drill bit
If you're using a forming tab of the same size, you need to drill a hole a little bit bigger. That's why I use a 256 cutting tab, and therefore I use a number 50 drill bit. If I wanted to use a forming 256 tab, I would have to use a 5/64th, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have that number with me right now. But for today, we're using metric tools. So you see we have a larger post in the front, two little ones in the back. So what's the difference? So a cutting, you drill the hole a little bit smaller because it will cut the threads on the metal. Forming tab needs to be, the hole needs to be a little bit bigger because this tab is not designed to cut metal away. What you're doing is you're forming the metal that's already there. So it's gonna push metal, and then metal is gonna come out, and that's how it's gonna create the thread. So for a forming tab, you need a 1.8 millimeter drill bit. I'm going to use that in the front, and in the back, to use a cutting tab, you need a 1.6 millimeter tab, which is this one. So let me get the drill ready, and I'll be back. So here we have some M2 screws by 4 millimeter long. You could get them 3 millimeter long too, but they are kind of expensive. But if you want to do the job right, there it goes in the front. Especially for the pickups, a 3 millimeter might work better. See, let's try on the base and try everything, see how it comes together. Alright, so here you see why a 3 millimeter would have been better for the back. So I have to drill again. This is why I always test this before I paint. So I'm gonna have to drill a little bit longer to be able to fit the screw all the way in. Now let me take it back apart and do it all over again. Elegant is the only word that I can think of. See how that looks perfect. Now it's up to you if you want to paint the screws red to match the base. Well, I don't know if I'm doing this red again, so, but I prefer to leave the screws always unpainted, because in the event that it strips, I could just replace it. I don't have to worry about painting another screw. That's how I go about it. But now I'm ready to strip the paint and see if I could fix that roof. See what happens. All right, to close out this section, if you're using the incorrect tap, like a pointy one like this one, remember you're probably cutting down, so you have all the debris going down. Then you have a tap that can't go all the way down. You're trying to force it, and that's how you end up bringing the taps. So make sure you use a bottoming tap like this one. Now it's up to you if you want to use the forming or the cutting. To me, I prefer the cutting. I feel that it's a lot more simpler, since with the forming you have to drill with a bigger size of hole, or a bigger hole. When it comes to the drill, try to use automatic ones like this one. The old kinds where they have the key, they tend to wobble a lot. So dealing with such a small drill bit, automatic seems to work better. And remember, if you go to a dentist to get your teeth clean, the dentist does not take your teeth out and puts them on the table to use the rotary tool. He does it straight in your mouth. So when it comes to the millimeter tools, I find them to be very expensive. It's really up to you if you want to go that route. It's very difficult that you're going to find tools like this locally. So you're probably going to end up ordering them online. So I would go with the 172 and the 256 screws, because you have two different sizes of screws to work with a lot more cars. If you go with the M2 screw, M2 it sits in between the 172 and the 256, but you have a lot more options, and the 172 and the 256 screws are way cheaper than the M2, times 3 millimeter and times 4 millimeter. So if you're already ordering online, I much rather do the 172 and the 256. The taps are cheaper. Everything is cheaper on the other side. So let's jump to the other section of this video. Fixing the roof. So this part actually took me close to an hour to be able to complete. So first I decided to use this center punch. And the center punch, you could adjust to the tension on that spring. So I have it on the lightest setting. And I'm just trying to, push that roof out using this valve to fill up like basketballs and stuff like that. I tend to use that as an axle shaft. I've shown you that on the past. That way I could hit it with the center punch again, and the bigger area, it doesn't leave a mark with the center punch. So I just keep tweaking at it slowly, trying to fix everything I see. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be a whole lot better than the way it was. So using the felt pad here, now I could start hitting it from the other side to try to fix it. And I don't want to hit metal with metal. As you can see, I don't think I can get it any better. So let's work on making a new windshield.
Check it out. Posted a reel and a short, and majority picked the black wheels. So here, I thought I was gonna have to do something complicated, but you can see all I did was put that thick axle through that aluminum tubing. The suspension works. I thought I was gonna have to sand down the bottom here, but it rides perfect. So now we are ready for paint. Let's get on it. Making the windshield. So I'm using this two-part resin over here. It does take a while. You have to stir it for 5 minutes. Make sure you don't do it too fast, or you're gonna get a lot of bubbles. I don't have a pressure thing to remove bubbles, so I've seen a lot of videos where people do this. So you just gotta get a very thin line here, and that should help with the bubbles. Just be very careful. Have the windshield ready. Like I use tape and some tacky blue stuff there to hold everything about leveled. Of course, I'm going to leave the link down below, the one I used. No mold release necessary, or at least I didn't have to use it. Even the instructions said I didn't have to use any mold release. Now, once I have it all nice and there, it took about 15 hours. I did this around 4 p.m. So I just let it sit until the very next day, 8 o'clock in the morning. The instructions say anywhere between 8 hours and 15 hours. So depends on the humidity and the temperature, or where you're doing this. So I put a piece of tape on the roof to cover up the hole. That's the only thing I would have done different. I really needed to make, once I remove the mold, I really need to make that hole so when I make the windshield, it'll be better. But, lesson learned. So now I'm just cutting away all the excess flash. I don't know if you could call it flash. It's not metal. So I'm cutting away everything. Making, using the original windshield as a guide. The better the mold, the better the windshield. I just want to make it to a point where it's easier to identify when it comes time to cutting it out. So now I'm just going to peel it out. You can see this is soft. It's not hard. And now we're ready for the next step. All right, so we are about to make the windshield. I'm going to be trying out these cheats that I bought specifically for the machine. They're 0.6 and they're considered to be hard. They're like this, but they feel very similar to the ones that I've been using. So I'm going to make one of each. Notice that I have space to put two, but I only made one silicone mold. You have to peel this or it's going to get melted. It's white on one side, transparent on the other. So let me get that ready. All right, so I'm going to peel here the one I ordered from China. I actually ordered it from AliExpress, and it took over a month to get it here. It's the first one I do, so it's going to take a while. It's going to take a few minutes to heat up. What I do is, you can see I have my other camera recording, and once I see that plastic bending down, I know it's ready. So I turn off the heat
turn on the vacuum and let it drop. I don't turn off the vacuum immediately. I let it work a little bit. Remove that top part, which is very hot. The plastic might still be a little hot, so I use my X-Acto knife here to take it out. Now I'm gonna do the other one with the acetate, the ones that I normally use. And again, I just heat it up, let it do its thing, and voila. So I'm gonna mark with this green Sharpie the one that's done with acetate, just so you can see the difference. Simple cut there with a regular scissor. And here's the other one. Now the car has a rivet on the roof, inside of the roof, so I'm gonna have to cut that part. That's what I mentioned earlier. If I would have maybe glued something on the original windshield so it would create a empty space, it would have been better. Or maybe use hot glue to glue down a straw. It would have created a straight through pass. It might have been better, but you learn as you go. So here it doesn't really fit. You gotta keep cutting at it. And there it is. It doesn't get any better than that. So creating the mold with the inside of the original turned out to be a good idea, and actually replicated the rear view mirror too. And there's a step for the back window too. It's not all flat, so it did an awesome job. You see I'm cutting that area where the rivet on the car is. There you go. Just beautiful. And like I was saying, I'd rather use the acetate one because I can just order it on Amazon. It's a lot quicker. The other one is, I'll tell you the truth, I ordered that last year, so I don't even know what price. And it took like a month to get here. And they're identical. Really identical. You can see that windshield sits just like the original, but better because it's not broken. You can see I might have to clean up a little bit there to make it fit better, but other than that, it's all nice. So let's jump to the last part of the video. All right, check it out. Banana blue metallic. Duplicate color. It is a GM color, but originally this car came in a blue. It was a gunmetal blue. I put up a picture so you can see it. And the bottom part, it's gunmetal by Vallejo. Gunmetal. So fun fact, the way you know an 84 from the picture that you're seeing is the first year 84 it only had 4 lug nuts. In 85 they changed it to 5. So now I'm gonna paint the lights here in the front. In the rear, luckily they're dark. They're really dark smoked on the real one, so they're going dark. I'm gonna paint up the engine bay a little, hit it with the clear coat, and I'll be back. Check it out. Look at this beauty. If you were worried about the engine, I forgot to turn on the light. There you go. I did not use the Honda engine. Now, before I forget, the clear coat for that wet look, let me show you. I use this brand new Duplicolor 1K Clear Extreme Pearl Finish. So the paint is already metallic and the clear coat added a little bit more. This is urethane base, non-yellowing. I guess it's even gasoline resistant, so I really liked it. There is another one, 1K Clear Gloss Finish. This is a home run for me. I really hate getting my airbrush dirty just to, clear coat one car. So with that, it makes a long job like this. I've been working on this car for almost a month now. So it was nice that I would just, hit it right out of the can. And to top it off, check this one out. This is a first year release of the Daytona. This color of variation. Check it out. You see that rear view mirror, how it came out. Oh, I painted my dash black to go with the interior. I also did the mirrors here, just like an original. And I did black trim all around every window. Look at the headlights. The original car has very tinted lights here on the front bumper and very tinted tail lights, so I just painted them black. And yep, look at this. Yes, I used the painted screws. So it is what it is. I mean, I could have removed that paint or just used brand new ones. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. They're already scratched up, look. So I'm not gonna worry about that. But you can see they're different. The first year came out with a metal base, but with this plastic overlay on top. And you can see it says made in England. There is a rare variation of this first year release when they changed to Macau. And instead of England, it says Macau. You can see this one, I think it was that red version I started with was the last year they were made in Macau. But here it is. Here it is. That fix on the roof, I think it's on point here. And that windshield came out, I think, spectacular. But I don't know. You guys let me know down below in the comments. I'll take pictures. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. Share it with everybody that you know, even your grandmother. And if you like, hit that subscribe button. That's going to be it. Thank you for watching. Peace out.